I find it kinda crass that I like to when you call me Jersey trash. Sitting on your toy boat in the middle of.
So this is just the lightest thing we have by the bottle from San Diego Brewery. It's kind of like a Belgian triple mixed with an American IPA.
Meanwhile, little by toe, I'm crashing down that.
I worked in restaurants when I was in high school. Never really thought I'd do it for a living. Graduated from college and started traveling and found myself in Japan, kind of studying the language and working a bunch of kind of part-time jobs. I worked in a farm, worked in a bakery, and then I found this amazing restaurant, which was a French-Japanese restaurant. I spoke just enough Japanese to get my foot in the door and not be a complete nuisance. But I really didn't know much about being a cook, and it was one of those experiences that taught me the gritty side of working in a kitchen, but it also taught me, well, it made it clear that I really, really loved it. Followed my chef's advice to go to cooking school in the West because I really thought that I wanted to go to cooking school in Japan. My chef said, listen, you're from the West. If you love Japan that much, you can always come back. So my story led me to Paris, and I went to a vocational school in Paris, and kind of just scraped and clawed enough money to make it through, and did what normal kind of 16, 18-year-olds do, getting in the business over there. I think taking the social studies and French essay was harder than the practical cooking exam. I got to work in a number of great restaurants, and it was an awesome introduction to to the business and French cooking in particular. And from that, I made my way to New York, and I had never been to New York City before coming to work here, and I had a job lined up at Danielle when I got here. Coming to Gramercy Tavern was a little bit not scripted. I mean, I really thought that I was going to make my way out and kind of try to open a small restaurant and do it on my own, and was kind of perfectly ready to spend years and years just to scrape by. And when I met Danny and showed him a business plan, he was helpful and encouraging and gave me a lot of good advice, but also introduced the idea of coming here. And I never really thought that would kind of be on my agenda, but as it worked out, I found a place that, despite the fact that we're celebrating 18 years of business this year, a youthful restaurant with people who are very earnest about making it better, from the top down. I mean, that's from Danny himself on down through his partners, and really everybody who works here. They treat this place like it's I don't know, it seems like a restaurant that's 2 or 3 years old, not 18. And what I mean by that is, like, you can easily say, the restaurant, a successful restaurant's like a piece of art. You just keep dusting it off and everybody stays in love with it. And that is not true. We know that's not true. We know a restaurant is changing all the time, and if it's not hungry to move forward, it gets stale. I found a youthful spirit, and I found a lot of people that wanted to talk about American cooking, and it was a great platform to do it from. So it just really turned into a dream come true. All your kind words, past and spoken. I don't think it has. I mean, the only thing that has changed is, like, I never took things in my life for granted, but you go through big changes like that, whether it's a big surgery or even having kids. I think they have a similar effect as you look at the world around you and you feel like it's a gift, it's like. And I came back from that surgery wondering if I'd be able to, physically get back into it. And I had to ask myself, is my body gonna repair itself so that I can get back in? And it took me 2 months to get just on my feet and moving around and feeling, kind of just normal on outside kitchen terms. Anyone who's in this business and has been working in this business, and especially the people at the top, have all been knocked down in one way or another. You've either faced humiliation or failure, failure of your body or failure of the business, and there's nobody that hasn't been knocked flat on their back. Every single person has some, if not a bunch of stories to talk about complete failure and wondering, is this going to work at all? And I don't know whether it's being crazy or stupid or just really in love with doing this that kind of brings us back for more. Not everybody has heart surgery like I had, and no, not everybody has kids, and those are definitely things that, you know, those are big obstacles. And in some ways, they're also kind of like, you grow from every one of those experiences, and who would have known that my life would unfold the way it has? But I'm sure happy to be here.
Do you still feel small? There's no one else around.
I think Maialino has an awesome and distinct breakfast menu, and since it's right around the corner from here, and I'm a huge fan of Nick Anders, like I would start there early on. Maybe we'd head out to something simple and have like a great salad and a pizza at Franny's. If you were going to do something exquisite, why not go to 11 Madison Park?
Nice things to say. I think it's time you change.
Well, you know, it was an unprecedented event, and it was a really emotional one for everybody who works in this restaurant, because here, you know, you have people that, you know, whether we spent every day working together, there was a connection. You feel a kind of sibling connection to the restaurant. And it left a whole lot of people feeling like, well, what does that mean? For Will and Daniel, it certainly means an amazing plateau in their careers. And so it's pretty much a celebration. I think everybody that works in this business had to look at that event as a celebration. I mean, we've never heard of a chef and a GM working their way up to buy the crown jewel of a restaurant company. But then again, we haven't seen people like Will and Daniel come along too often. So that was pretty amazing. I don't think in terms of, if you look at USHG, that it left a void of any sorts. It was a unique restaurant that gave a lot of inspiration for people everywhere around the city, including in the company. But I don't think that necessarily that changes the nature of our company at all. I mean, I think that what's beautiful about USHG is every one of those restaurants has very distinct personality, and there's little to no rivalry between those restaurants. How can you not? You grow up in a family with brothers and sisters, there's rivalry. So from the top down, I think that was that showed the amazing support that's in this company and keeping things, you know, focused. And so since that never really existed, I don't think in the absence of 11 Madison Park that you feel anything other than us, you know, each one of our restaurants going about doing their thing.
Say what you wanna say.
I don't really know, but I guess I would probably attribute a negative connotation to that, because I think celebrity chef is a media-driven term, and it usually comes with the necessity to have TV shows and appearances and stuff like that. To be fair, it's also a great thing that the industry has evolved to make, you know, a large percentage of people in the States look at becoming a, you know, we say chef, but becoming a cook as a desirable thing. That's amazing that a lot of people now look to the restaurant business as, you know, cool or exciting to be a part of it. It wasn't so long ago when it was completely marginal. So I guess there's good and bad that come with that. It's hard to summarize in one most important thing, because the guy has taught me an immense amount of business, and he's also taught me about, you know, being a well-balanced person. But I don't know, if I had to, in business terms and restaurant terms, I think one of the most important things that he has to say is that if we look carefully around us and we take care of the people that we work with and we put them in a winning position, that's our top priority, then you know, as long as we're challenging ourselves to balance how well we do what we do, that we'll come out ahead. But the idea of always thinking about the emotional impact that you have on people working around you is an interesting idea, and you know, you can call it a lot of different things. Some of us just would consider it a natural sign of respect for people, but I think it is a little more intentional than that. And you know, when an entire business embraces an idea like that, that's been kind of a groundbreaking idea for me, working with Danny. Ingredients. That's how we tell our story here, and you know, somebody told me about something I've never tasted yesterday. Have you ever had a soft shell crayfish?
Silent.
Somebody tells me a story like that, that gets me pretty excited. And the same thing is true for, you know, today's the first day that English peas showed up. Like, you know, that's not necessarily a once in a lifetime experience, but it happens once a year. And so those are the things that drive the kind of excitement in cooking around here.